GMC Studios. Here is your host, Derek Pearson.
Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul
on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good Monday, everybody. Appreciate you joining us, hanging out with us. 402-464-5685. That's the Starter Heyman text line if you have questions, comments, or other. Honda Lincoln Hotline as well. If you want to catch the video stream, you could do so. Starter Heyman's video stream is up. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter Live. So you can see what's going on in studio. You can see the faces and get some interaction. This one's a special one for me. I have to be honest. Father's Day weekend kind of put me in a mood. And there are blessings in this thing called life, and I wanted to share one of mine with you guys. And I wanted to tell the story that up until my 55th birthday, I didn't know who my biological father was. And as the investigation evolved, more blessings on blessings on blessings, because I found out that I belonged to a family that not only looked like me, but these were my people. These were actually my people. These were people who played ball. I thought they were rather intelligent, and the fact that they were loving and welcoming of me to their space and their lives. Because it could have been the other way. It could have gone absolutely the other way, and that it could have been folks who wanted no parts of what was going on. They didn't know me. They didn't know what kind of life I was living. They didn't know who I was, and I really crossed my fingers. And I have to tell you, I won the lottery. Some impressive folks, good-hearted folks, funny folks, and I wanted to share that story with you because on the line, on the Honda Lincoln Hotline, and it's the first time I get to say this publicly, he is my brother. He is Wendell Garner. Wendell, how you doing this morning, bro?
Hey, good morning. How you doing, big brother?
It's just funny. Like we giggle constantly that if it's a holiday in the past 3 years, we get to, I get to say, happy holiday, brother, happy Father's Day, brother. And it hits and it resonates differently than anything I can tell you about. I have to thank you publicly because, as I said, it could have gone the other way. It could have been folks who wanted no part of this, folks who weren't engaging. They could have been bad folks. But turns out he's a good dude. And I actually I love everything about this man. Like, I love the way he loves his family. I love the way he loves sports. I love the way he loves life. Before the pandemic, we got to go to a Washington Nationals baseball game together. And seriously, that's a special building to me, but that's a special day because I got to share it with you.
Wow. Yeah, it was a good day. I really enjoyed that. Actually, I enjoy all the time that we share together. It was, you're not the only one that benefited from this in a lot of ways. I had to think and grow myself and expand the possibilities too. So I do appreciate you and what you do and the things that you say because it has opened me up more to express myself a little bit better and clearer to folks that I really don't know as much. So thank you for that too.
It turns out that Wendell and I were in similar circles, even without knowing that we were brothers, because my roommate for several years was this guy named Donald Turner. And I knew Donald from Little League all the way through high school, college, and then after. And all the while, Donald and Wendell are buddies. And I referred to Donald as Buck. Like, so I was talking about this dude Buck, and Wendell would look at me like I had 3 heads. And like, he's like, who are you talking about? I'm like, oh, Donald. He's a common thread. He's a high school coach back in Virginia. It's just another thing amongst the common thread of how Wendell and I ended up in circles, not knowing that we were brothers, but we were in the same circle. So he's also, I'll give him credit, he's a better basketball player than I was. At least that's what I'm told. and Tommy Amaker is the cosign, right? When he says, yeah, he's a pretty good basketball player. That's good enough for me. If Tommy Amaker says you can ball, you can ball.
Well, I think I paid him on the side to say that. But, yeah, Tommy's a good dude, and yeah, he was on a different level.
Talk about that, though. I mean, because in your circle, I mean, running around in high school, even at a neighboring school, but from the same neighborhood, you and Tommy Amaker became friends, and you guys got on the court and battled quite a bit.
We actually we played football. Actually, I think it was our 75-pound team. We played the Northern Virginia Football Club, and Tommy was on that team. I don't know if he continued to play football after that year. I'm not sure on that. But he was on our team, and that's when I met him for the first time. And we grew up in Falls Church, so we knew of each other and all. I had no idea. I know he played ball. We played at James Lee Community Center. They had a league down there, and you would hear about certain guys. But I had no idea what level he was playing on. But we ran in the same circles. His cousins were my friends, and we played various sports together: baseball, football, basketball. Basketball wasn't my thing until later. I fell in love with it. But Tom's a good guy. In terms of my skill, I don't know. I'm very local with mine. Back then, you played ball and you only knew what you saw and what you went against, and you kind of measure yourself that way. Tom and them was on a different level. Of course, they play AAU. I believe they won the AAU championship too. I think it was there either 16 or 17. They won the national championship. But he played with some other guys. So being in a circle, being somewhat attached, I was exposed to a lot of good people, a lot of talented people, all throughout the Northern Virginia area, and it was an experience I never forgot. So
we are talking with my brother, Wendell Garner, and I have to say that my only regret is that I did not meet you sooner. Because there are things that went on, right, that we could have shared along the way, and you and I have talked about the difference coaches make in your life, and elders and mentors, right? That quite frankly, if you don't get the right people in life, it can affect your trajectory. You don't get to accomplish things without the right people in your circle. But your family, which is now my family, is a unique compilation of human beings. I want to say the first night we actually met, we decided to meet in a restaurant, right? Public place.
Yeah.
And Wendell kind of said, listen, I'm going to be open in this thing. My other brother, Tommy's probably going to be open in this thing. But Sister Kim probably, I'm not real sure. Like, I'm not real sure how this is going to play out. And I had already met the older brother, Roy. And we walked into the restaurant, and the hostess looked at us both and just went, wow, you really are related. There's no question. Right. What was going through your head before that meeting? Like, seriously.
Well, I had already made up my mind which way I was going to go, and I was going to go all in. And I kind of told you that. I'm very guarded. I'm very protective of my family, close and distant. So I listen, and I usually don't speak that well because it gets in the way of my listening. But I heard you, and then I tested it out to see if it was true. And with you, I knew nothing about you other than what my big brother Roy was telling me. You should talk to him because you have a lot in common. You guys, and I was like, at that time I didn't know that we were brothers. I was thinking that, at best we would be cousins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of cousins, so I was like, and he kept doing so. I said, give me his number, and then we talked. And I just wanted to find out what you're about, what were you expecting, all that stuff. And I was listening to everything that you said and the reasons why. And then that's when I began to open up. Now to the meeting. Now, when I walked in, like I said, I already knew, I was walking to meet family, so it's much different at that point. So it's just a matter of starting a relationship and making sure it gets off to a solid ground because the situation was surprising to me. To get a letter in the mail asking from Ancestry, identifying possibilities of family, but it didn't say brother or anything like that. And I know I told you, but my wife and I told her that I wanted to consider doing Ancestry myself just so I can know my heritage, the lineage, where I'm from and all that, because all I really knew was, up to my grandparents and maybe a few further down, but not much. When I got the letter, and she was like, aren't you going to open it? And I was like, oh, it's just, it's junk mail. Spam, I'm not. So then she just kept talking about it, so, because I put it on the shredder. And then I went and got it and opened it up, and I was like, okay, this guy named Derek looking for a friend, da da da. And the names weren't lined up with me, So she's like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "No, just shred it. There's nothing to do."
Right.
And then it kind of went from there, just conversation. Then when I spoke with Roy, that's when it kind of said, "Oh, well, there may be something to this," and then I just followed it, and let it play out. And I'm glad that I did.
It was one of the more special evenings in my life because um, 4 people who were strangers that afternoon became family. And I have to say, like, not only did we get together that night and we sat in that corner of that restaurant and we laughed and we ate and we fell in love with each other, but then you were special and unique in that you immediately said, let's do this again. And
Yeah.
you and I went to a sports bar in Virginia, and we just sat there across from each other. And I was texting my wife, I was texting Becky during this thing, going, oh, unbelievable. Like, this is unbelievable. We're the same. Like, oh, that I actually coached at Wendell's high school.
Yes.
I actually coached at his high school, and I felt like, wow, okay, here's another thing. You you love baseball, you love football, you're a sports fanatic. And that helps us because we sat on the dugout for the Nats game, and it felt like we had done this 100 times. That was you. You made that possible, and I thank you publicly because that was an amazing day, Wendell. It really was.
Well, it was a shared experience, so you had a lot to do with it too. I had no idea. It's like with your old intro to your show, you said I'm kind of a big deal, and you were talking about the things, and I was like, because I just don't, get over the top about hearing about things like that because I want to know the person, that's, and I was like, wow, that's cool, really, wow, and then and to be honest, I kind of wasn't believing all of it. So
Most people don't.
Let me do my own research and see, but all of it was true. But as far as our relationship, it I think it was at the right time for me because if it would have been a lot earlier, of course, I don't think I would have been as open. I wouldn't have been as accepting because it was my dad.
Yeah.
And and so, but because it happened when it did, and I think God had a lot to do with that. I was ready, and I'm glad because you're like the brother. I mean, because we're a lot. I mean, a lot of like. I mean, I don't know how. I think our paths probably crossed each other, or either in the court or we were in places together.
Yep.
But I didn't. I didn't. I just don't look at people and I just don't do that unless I had a reason to pay attention.
Right.
And I read the Northern Virginia Sun. You remember that newspaper?
Yeah, man.
And they used to do all the little high school sports things, and
Yeah.
and I'm sure I came across articles on you, but it just didn't stick, who you were, because I never seen you, never, I didn't go to WNL games, I stayed in my lane, so I went to my school games and paid attention to the district teams and stuff like that, and then of course who went on to regionals and states, but anyway, I'm just glad where things are right now.
Again, for folks that just joined, talk to my brother Wendell Garner, who I met just a few years ago to find out that by DNA I am a Garner, and I play in that because there's so many common traits from this family, and it is such an exceptional group of folks that I smile and shine for them because of them. Roy, Tommy, Kim. We went to that baseball game and we get a text from our nephew Brandon, who was at the game with a kids group. He had brought a kids group to that game, and he sprinted down to join us. And again, those three smiles sitting together, it brought me joy at a level I can barely explain, Wendell. What a great day, what a great moment that was.
Yeah, it definitely was, and there's more to be had. More to be had.
We have stuff to do. I've made it known publicly that I'm having difficulty with my Washington Football Alliance and loyalty. You are a Commanders fan. Please talk me through. What am I going to do? Is there a reason for me to stay loyal?
They made it difficult for me. So I've been at the crossroads before. I was gonna change teams. I've been a Skins, well, they're not the Skins, but a Washington Redskins fan since since 70,
Mm-hmm.
71. I started out as a Colts fan because my mom gifted me a football and a helmet. My first helmet for Christmas, and it was a Baltimore Colts helmet.
Right.
So that's when I started, football, and I was paying attention to them. And then I moved over with the Hill game.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know the history of the team. So you kind of like the things that you see, and that was my team, and I didn't pay attention to it. But as I have grown, through the years, and you look for meanings and purpose and stuff, and they kind of moved me after the Joe Gibbs era and all, kind of moved me in the opposite direction once Snyder got the team, and it's a struggle. I don't even know how to. It's a struggle for me because I'm contemplating. I was contemplating switching again because it's not even about the sport anymore. It made it about other things and the decisions that they make as an organization. And it's just But I'm going to a game. I just found out for my son gifted me tickets to the Vikings game.
Okay. Okay. Well, here's what I'm gonna say. We're gonna go together. So if we stay, we stay. If we go, we go.
Okay.
We'll work that out.
We need to talk.
And here's the other thing, Wendell. It's hard because you're a baseball dude and you're a Nats fan, and it's hard to watch from a distance.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't know. But it's been a struggle for a while. I mean, you have the Mystics; they're playing pretty good.
We've got so far. That's how far we've gone.
Move on, over there for a while. But yeah, it's pretty, not good being a Washington fan these days. But yeah, we need to talk about that. Right now, I'm holding on to it. I'm with the Commanders. Don't like the name, but oh well, it's my local team, so I'll continue to support until I find no other reason to do so.
Yeah, it is. Listen, this is so joyful for me. When I text you, I'm like, okay, this is calling me. It was Father's Day. I never met our father, but I'm thanking him. I was thanking him yesterday because he gave me you. Like that, like even without meeting him, he still managed to affect my life. He still made my life better. He still put more love into my space. And I'm so grateful for you, um, the family, your energy, your spirit is everything good. So I just have to say this. There's a family reunion before the pandemic, and it was the first chance to get together with the Garner family as a whole. And Wendell's mom was there. And I was uncomfortable because I felt like I could be a negative presence in her space. But I want to tell you how blessed I am and how favorable, and I'm tearing up just thinking about what this woman did. The power of love in this Garner family, and what your mother did. What your mother did was, as I stood aside, she reached out her hand and said, "Baby, come here. You're home," and invited me in and to take a picture with the rest of the family. And I cry every time I think about it because that is the most powerful thing anybody's ever done for me. That what your mother did on that day, and the way that you and the rest of the family engaged and encouraged and welcomed me in. Wendell, it's I have to say thank you publicly because it gave me hope again that people are good at heart. Your mother is good at heart. Your family is good at heart. You, sir, you are good at heart. And I am blessed for you. I have to say it. It's the first chance I get to say it publicly. I love you. I appreciate you. And it means the world that you're a part of my world.
Wow, I love you too. And like I said, it's just more. You said it's just one more person needs to love, and that sums it up, right? So we didn't have no. We had nothing, no skin in the game as to how it happened. But really, it's how we react to things is most important, So I coach teams, little kids and stuff, and I always tell them that. I mean, it's kind of pay attention and watch your reaction. Some of them could have a longing effect. So I mean, if I taught that to them, my son, my kids, and other kids, then who am I not to take my own advice? And because I'd be hypocritical if I didn't. So, like I said, it's all good. I'm just glad that the addition is very positive, and like I said, it's more things for us to experience together. I'm looking forward to it.
Sir, you have a wonderful day. The funny, another added value thing. His son graduated from VCU. Got a niece, the favorite niece in the family, graduated from VCU. The universe is full. I just have to say that. I know you need to get your workout in. Go and get your workout in, bro. I will talk to you later today. I'll cut this up and send it to you. But love you. Appreciate you, man. Have a great Monday.
All right. Love you too. Talk to you later. All right.
All right. I'm going to go cry, and we'll come back. 1-on-1, 93.7 The Ticket.
The days of internet contracts and heavy fine print are over. It's time to experience hassle-free service with no contracts or hidden fees. That's the Allo promise. Allo Communications provides fiber internet, TV, and phone services with fair and no-nonsense pricing. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, 24/7 local support 365 days a year, and a monthly bill you can count on. Don't settle for gimmicks. Settle for hassle-free with Allo. Visit us at allofiber.com/hassle-free.
2-1 count, and that's a deep drive into the gap. Smith rounding first base. It's a stand-up double.
Hey, Nick, speaking of doubles, did you know Wings and Rings has 2 ways to enjoy their next level food?
Rico, we're in the middle of a game.
The game can wait, Nick. One way is to stop by one of their Lincoln locations. They have 2 great locations at O Street, Meridian Park, and 40th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village.
You said 2 ways. What's the other way?
You can order online at wingsandrings.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Spring is here. Are you giving your yard the best chance at being healthy and green? Call Penner Sprinkler and Lawn to get your sprinklers ready to go for the season if they haven't been working properly. They're also scheduling installs for new sprinkler systems if you don't have one. So make sure you contact them early to get a bid as soon as possible. Plus, they're your one place to go for 5-step fertilizer and pesticide application and lawn aeration. Call Penner Sprinkler and Lawn today at 402-413-1215.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast today, hot, humid, and breezy. We'll see high, top out around 99. Tonight, we'll see a slight chance of showers and storms roll through the area. The low of around 77. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return, but it will be breezy again. The high of around 91. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order your Wingstop online at 28th and Superior, 50th and O Street, and 29th and Pine Lake.
Neil Armstrong waited 6 hours and 39 minutes to step onto the surface of the moon. Jackie Robinson waited 20 months to play his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And even DiCaprio had to wait 22 years to win an Oscar. You can wait until your destination. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Steve's Garage Doors and Services is under new management, but has the same great service as before. If your current garage door seems outdated or isn't working properly, call their new number at 402-480-2840 to schedule service or get a new door ordered. Steve's can repair most types of garage doors and can always point you in the right direction to get the job done. Give Steve's Garage Doors and Services a call today at 402-480-2840. That's 402-480-2840.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to One-on-One on a Monday. You hear the sounds of John Cena, and that's tonight, WWE PBA. If you're going, please reach out. Be on the lookout. Be some ticket folks there. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you guys on the text line. Don Magic goes, yeah, you're not the only one who's crying. It's just we get caught up in a lot of stuff in life, and like I said, this could have gone left. This could have gone way left. It could have been folks who just wanted no parts of any of this. And so the story was that for my 55th birthday, Becky decided to because I was poking around a little bit trying to find out. I didn't find out until late in life that Walter Pearson, the guy who gave me his name, wasn't my biological father, and there were all sorts of stories behind that. But then later, as my mom got sick, it came up, and I wasn't going to push that on her when she was sick. And before she passed, it was kind of, well, it is what it is. I'll take it to the grave. And I asked the rest of the family, and it wasn't. There wasn't a lot of information available, and so he poked around, and there were some names that came up, and through the process, finally, the story has several sides to it. One the way Ancestry works is that it can tag you with whoever you are genetically related to who has taken the test. So directly they can tell you that this person and this person share X number, what percentage of DNA and on which side. And so then the problem is that if your people aren't taking DNA tests, then you're just out of luck. Although then there's a second side where you start getting into family trees. And sometimes family trees can be wrong, because if you were on my family tree before, you would not have tied together the Garner family. So a lot of family trees, the information that's passed along is wrong. DNA is right. It's true. It can't lie to you. So then finally, in the process, months into the process, we get a hit saying that you've got somebody that is your second cousin once removed. And I'm like, okay, that's close. So let me see. And then of course you do the social stalk thing, and I'm looking at the person's name and where it says they're from, who took the test, and they're from Arlington, Virginia. And I'm like, okay, we're in business. So then I jump on social media and I go to Facebook, and there he is. He's on Facebook. So I go through his pictures, and then I get the stone cold chills, because there's a woman in his pictures that I know, because I know the name, I know this woman. And so I reach out to him and I said, listen, this is who I am. You can look on Ancestry and see I'm not a stalker. I'm just somebody trying to get information. And he goes, yeah. I said, are you open to sharing information? He goes, sure. So I said, the woman in this picture, you say this is your grandma and you miss your grandma. Is that your grandmother, or is that like, he goes, yeah, that's my grandmother. That's my grandmother. And I'm like, her daughter is my mom. And I'm like, so I know his mom, because I've had dinner with her, I've ridden in her car, so I said, well, so that means that so-and-so, this guy, Andre, is your uncle. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So I sent him a picture, and he goes, yeah, that's my Uncle Andre. And I'm like, so here's the story. Growing up as kids in the neighborhood. So I went to school with this guy, Andre, from kindergarten until we got bused to various points of the county. But we always stayed in touch. Like, we were 5 streets away. And one day I see him in the summer, and he's going to baseball practice. Like, I see him in practice uniform. I'm like, where are you going? He goes, I'm going to practice baseball. And he goes, well, why don't you come with me? He goes, you're good. Why don't you come with me? And I'm like, well, let me go check with mom. I'll go check with mom. We could walk to practice. So I went down and played baseball with him. We became best of friends. Even through college. Once we graduated from college, we became roommates. We were roommates for 5 years. I was best man in his wedding. When I went to Charlotte to work for the Panthers, he wanted a life change. And so I said, well, just come down here. You can live with me and you'll help me run our foundation. We had a charity called Fat Guy Charities. And then you can help me run around with the TV show. And so he packed his stuff, moved to Charlotte. We ran through and people would call us brothers all the time. They were like, you guys are brothers. And turns out that he was my first cousin. So my roommate and my best friend was my first cousin. I didn't know it, which led to other questions, right? Because throughout our time, like as teenagers, like his mom would pick us up from practice. And if my mom wasn't home from work yet, she would just say, well, why don't you come to the house and eat? And then I'll take you home or you can walk home. And this happened 10, 15 times a year. So we were around. And then Andre and I were best friends through a lot of part of our early adult life. And then they said, well, okay, so let's go. Your mom's family, did she have brothers? And she had 6 brothers, which makes it complicated. And 2 of those were twins. They were twins, which makes it, and they're both deceased. So then you got to get, when Wendell said he got a letter from Ancestry, they sent out a letter saying there's somebody that's inquiring, are you interested in sharing DNA or at least dealing with it? So as it comes up, but the letter that was answered was the brother Roy, who was the older brother. And when Roy got it, he said, oh, that's our dad. No, like, no, you don't understand no, it's more complicated. And he goes, no. I know Derek. He lived like 1 street away from me. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. So I showed Rico a picture of the 2 twins who were baseball players. And when they sent the picture and said, we believe your dad's in this picture. And there's 2 twins. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't really help me. But now you got to find people from both twins too. And I sent the picture to Becky. And Becky, I was in DC. Becky was in Houston. And I sent her the picture. And I go, one of these is my dad. And she goes, it's the guy on the right. And I said, no, honey, they're twins. Like, they're twins. She goes, no, it's the one on the right. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? She goes, I've seen that face every day. That's your coaching face. It's the guy on your right. The guy on the right is your dad. Because he's got, and it's my dad, they're both in baseball uniforms, and the cap is down. And she goes, nope, that one. So I asked the family, I'm like, which one is dad? And they said, yeah, the one on the right. So Becky even knew before I did. And to tell you that when I met the older brother Roy, we were good. It was pure happenstance. I was in DC. This is when I was working for the government at the time. And I'm in DC and I get a message on Facebook from a young lady who said, hey, I believe you may be my uncle. And I'm like, why? And she goes, well, my dad got this letter from Ancestry. And he says he thinks you're his brother. And I was like, well, who is it? And she kind of said he had a nickname. And he called him before. So you talked to my brother Roy. And he said, yeah, it's us. Like we were 1 street away. It's us. So he goes, well, do you want to meet? You want to meet up? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, I happen to be in Arlington. He doesn't live there, but he happened to be there that weekend. Picked a restaurant. I got there first, set the table. When I went out to the car and I told the hostess, somebody may come in looking for me. This is my name. If they come in looking for me, just send them to the table. I go out to the car. I come back and the hostess goes, didn't you just walk by? I'm like, no. She goes, I think your brother's here. I think your brother's here. Now, Rico, I'm going to share this. I'm going to show you this picture.
Okay.
So you will get some understanding of how funny space is.
I mean, you were showing me the pictures of your dad, like your dad younger, and some of your brothers. And when I tell you that DP's dad has strong genes, that man,
right? Like he
just made photocopies of himself and was just like, "You be a little smaller,"
right? Right. So unplanned, didn't know we were going to meet. So imagine this is the first picture that we take together.
Oh yeah. He just has if you just take your face and you just elongate it a little bit, same face.
Right?
Same face.
Right? Like we both had on black hats with black clothes.
Of course you did.
Glasses. Like we
Did you guys color coordinate?
No, but we didn't even know we were going to meet.
The hats are different, but they're close enough.
Well, he's a Steelers fan, and I had on a black NFL hat.
Yeah, it's close enough.
And like
this
we
is
just
a black
walked
hat
in.
with like a logo in the middle.
We just walked in, and it was fantastic. Now the story gets more bonkers.
Of course it does.
Of course
because
it does.
why wouldn't it?
Because like this is so. Imagine my head through all of this, that all this is spinning around.
This is too much.
So my older sister Deborah, who her married name is, she married a Garner, a different Garner.
Okay.
But her name is Deborah Garner. Her name is Deborah Garner, right? So she's a Garner, and her oldest son, she named after me. His name is Derek Garner, which is actually what my name should have been. She's there. So she's in tears. She took the picture. And then after we had dinner, had lunch, she said, "There's someplace I need to take you. There's somebody I want you to meet."
Mm-hmm.
Didn't tell me anything. We get in the car, and it was a very short ride to my old neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And she pulls up in front of my grandmother's old house. So the house that I used to get babysat in until I was 12. And then she moved a block away, but that house still is there. And we pull up to the house, and I'm like, "Why are we at Hattisu's house? Why are we at my grandmother's house?" And she goes, "Shut up, keep walking." We walk up. She pulls the door open. I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, you walking in people's houses? What is happening?" So I stand by the door because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but this is my grandmother's house, so it's a little like I'm comfortable. And I'm looking around because the thing that I'm looking at is this was my grandmother's house. This was my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at the wall. And on the wall are pictures of my daughter. There are pictures of my daughter on the wall.
Okay.
And I'm like, what is happening? A woman turns the corner and she goes, "Hey, Deborah." And the woman had a bag in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
She threw the bag at me and hit me with it. And she goes, "Why did you bring him here?" And Deborah goes, "Girl, this is my brother, Derek." And she had a rag and she dropped it and she went, "I thought it was Roy." This was Roy's ex-wife who was living in my grandmother's house. And the pictures of my daughter on the wall were actually her daughter.
Yep. No. Okay.
And her name is Deborah. So
are we living in are you living in the Twilight Zone or something?
Right. So the niece that I had who reached out on Facebook, I had not met her.
Mm-hmm.
So she drove over to her mom's house, Deborah,
mm-hmm.
and she's sitting she comes in and we just hug each other and we just cry. And then she sits on the couch and we're all just talking, but she's facing me, just staring at me. And she goes, "It's the weirdest thing to look. I see my dad, but I hear this other man's voice coming out of his face." And it was the weirdest, most amazing, brilliant day that you could ever imagine. Life changes for people. You have to hang on until it changes for you. Like, you're never, like, all of my entire reality was just thrown out the window. And I had a new reality because I found out that I had 4 more brothers and 2 more sisters, and then this gigantic family who loved me. So I'm going to pause there. I have to tell you a story that the following weekend, that family had to get together. The weird twist kept happening. I'll tell you more when we come
Tyler Perry and M. Night Shyamalan made a movie.
back. Coming back.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One on One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's time to start thinking about what's next. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Southeast Community College wants to be part of your conversation. SCC Discovery Days give you an immersive look at our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford. Come take a tour, meet our instructors and students, ask questions, and see all the new things SCC has been doing and building in the last few years. See more and register online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. Your path to possible.
Hey, batter, batter, batter. Wings, splatter, splatter, splatter. Catch all this season's baseball action at one of your neighborhood Lincoln locations. Get League of Their Own wings, burgers, nachos, and ringers while catching all the action. Stop into Wings and Rings located on O Street in Meridian Park and 40th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village. Or place your order online at wingsandrings.com. That's wingsandrings.com, Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Pillar Restaurant Group is proud to announce the full opening of our brick-and-mortar venue-at-home store, Lincoln's new premier specialty grocers. This store is home to our brand new Butchery by Venue. Get the finest Nebraska steaks, hand-cut in-house by our butcher, prepared for our restaurants, and available for you to take home. With hand-selected specialty seafood, charcuterie, wine, bourbon, and liquor options. Come in today to see what we have to offer at 70th and Pioneers in the Pioneer Woods Shopping Center. Open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
We have 2 boys, so we needed more space. We lived in a townhouse, so we decided to build.
Casey Bowman and her husband Joe built their first home with us. This is Bob Benish of Aspen Builders. Working with the Bowmans was fantastic.
After the first meeting, we really liked them as people.
I was really skeptical about the whole building process, more so than Joe was. If there were problems or issues along the way, they called and explained everything. They just really helped ease my mind.
They were really good about giving us options as far as what fit in the budget, what didn't fit in the budget. They have a designer, Rachel.
She was amazing. She was very helpful in making sure that our house turned out good. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change the lot. I wouldn't change colors. I love everything about it. Everything. It's perfect for us.
Like the Bowmans, you too can make your dream home a reality. Call us at 423-6811 or online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop, but you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order your Wingstop online at 28th and Superior, 50th and O Street, and 29th and Pine Lake.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast today, hot, humid, and breezy. We'll see high top out around 99. Tonight we'll see a slight chance of showers and storms roll through the area. The low of around 77. And tomorrow we'll see mostly sunny skies return, but it will be breezy again. The high of around 91. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
We stand on the shoulders of women who came before us.
Women who fought for their own financial futures.
And now it's our turn.
Join us. Visit WeSaySaveIt.org and take control of your financial future by saving for retirement.
A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to One on One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment before we turn it over to the captain from the Red Room. He and Nick will carry you through until 2 o'clock. So I'll complete the story as best as I can. So 2 parts of this thing. The following week to meeting my niece, 2 of my nieces, and my brother's ex-wife. So, of course, the fact that my sister and his ex-wife are best friends and never knowing that any of this is connected in any way, shape, or form. Like, they're best friends to the point where my sister would walk in her house unannounced, right? And she's living in my grandmother's house. And I just sat there and had to just kind of settle into what is happening here. Like, the world is spinning. The following week, Tuesday, actually later that afternoon, I go to a play. I go to watch Ain't Misbehaving in D.C. And the lead in the Ain't Misbehaving was Nell Carter in the Broadway and in the movie version of it. But the young lady was playing Nell Carter, and that's a tough role to play. And immediately after the show, watching this woman sing, she's crying, she's singing, I'm crying. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So I go back and I'm like, I just have to thank you and congratulate you. You're amazing. I just have to tell you. That Saturday, there's a cookout at my cousin Andre's house. So where his mother lived and where Andre lived, but his older brother Lawrence was still living in the house. And so they were going to meet there. And across the street from them were my friends Kevin and Renee Dunbar. And Renee Dunbar is important in this thing, but put a pin in it. I walk into the living room, and who is standing at the table serving food? The woman who sang, who was the lead. Turns out she's my cousin. And I had been, as you said, during the break, I was fanboying over a cousin. Just going, oh, you were amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing.
That's like telling like your brother or sister like how great they did,
Yeah.
and then they're never gonna let you live it down.
Yeah,
like hey, remember that time that I was amazing and you told me that I was?
Yeah, and it's there. But she's a local, a DC Emmy award winning performer.
Wow,
like she's big time, and it's pretty fantastic.
And you're related,
and we have the same birthday. So
nothing you say surprises me anymore.
So fast forward to an hour later, where the Dunbar family comes across the street. It turns out the Dunbar family is related to the Garner family. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So Kevin Dunbar played on the same team with me and Andre. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm playing ball with my first cousin. Don't know it. But 2 of them. Well, the story goes like this. When we were kids, because we hung out all the time, Renee Dunbar was my age, and Renee and I would hang out. Like, we would hang out. Mm-hmm. And one day we're sitting at the Dunbar house, and Renee's mom called her to the kitchen and said, baby, you got to send that boy home. You can't date him. If you think about dating him, you can't date him. Y'all might be family, so you need to send him home. And so she told me, and I was hurt. I was hurt. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was just a thing. Right? Which is part of why I didn't date in my community, because there were a couple of times where this thing was happening. Fast forward to this reunion, and Renee walks across the street and she goes, what are you doing here? And I said, weird story, but I'm family. I'm their brother. And she goes, so we're first cousins. And I was like, yes. And she goes, It's a good thing we didn't keep going, don't you think?
My mom was right.
My mom was right. What is happening? So yeah, it's been an interesting ride for me. And it gets better and more amazing
Nothing you say surprises me
all
anymore.
the time.
Nothing.
All the time.
I feel like you can start a story at one point, and by the time the story is over, 25 million different things have happened, but it all started with one. You dropped a pebble one time, and you bumped into somebody. Turns out that's your uncle's cousin who is related to Muhammad Ali.
And this is a big family. This is a big family. So the connections keep happening. Texas says, DP, you could have a movie about your life. Crazy. Yeah.
Like there's probably somebody in the NFL that you interviewed that you're actually cousins with, and it's just like you don't know it yet, and then it's gonna happen. You're gonna be like, oh, cool.
Yeah. So if anybody suggests you go do Ancestry or 23andMe, I suggest the answer is yes.
And always listen to your mom.
Yep. Your mom and your aunt, they all know. They're all knowing.
You might be related.
Yeah.
Just take their advice.
So anyway, that's my Father's Day weekend kind of deal. I hope you guys enjoyed the story and meeting my family a little bit. You know the story behind the story. Captain Show coming up next here on 93.7 The Ticket.